8, right? Homework number 8. This is what's due on Friday. Oh, having said that, I was never... Whatever, let's get to math. All right. So we're supposed to... You're asking, does 9 divide into 7, 3, blank, 2, 1? So we can put different digits in there. And they want me to, specifically, they want me to find the greatest digit that works. So you could, I'd probably just start at 9, you know. I would just say 7, 3, 9, 2, 1. Does that work? Does that divide by 9 evenly? So you can just take your calculator, simply, you have your calculator on the test. Simply divide by 9. 10, 12, 20. It's no. The answer is no. And then I would say 7, 3, 8, 2, 1. And the answer is no. And then I would try 7, 3, 7, 2, 1. The answer is no. I think, isn't it? 10, 17, 18, 20, 20. So which one's with 2 down? So it's not going to work till you get to 7, 3, 5, 2, 1. That'll be the one that works. Doesn't it? Am I right on that? I'm using a little trick. Is it? I think that's right. 7, 3, 5, 2, 1 divided by 9. I think it goes in evenly, doesn't it? Yeah. Now, does anybody know the trick I'm using? So you don't have to know. You just use your calculator, but it does make it quicker if you know the trick. There's a trick for divisibility by 9. It's the same trick that also works for 3. Let me write this a little neater here. What is it? How do you know really quickly, rather than I'm not doing the whole long division in my head that fast. Rather than doing the whole long division, what's the trick for 3 or 9? You know? Yeah. Yeah. Just add the digits. There's a little trick. It works for 3 and 9. Let me just write it out for you. For 3 and 9, add the digits. Meaning, like 7 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1. That's what I'm doing. I'm just adding those numbers up. And that's 18. And 18 is divisible by 9, right? 9 goes in there 2 times perfectly. So that means the entire number works. It's a trick that you can do for 9 or 3. It doesn't work for other numbers. So you just, for 3 or 9, you add the digits. If the sum is divisible by 3 or 9, then so is the entire number, the entire original number. Yeah, so basically, I was just looking at that, and so you could just try those in your calculator. They want the greatest one, so the greatest digit you could put in here that works is 5 to make that work. We good on that? Just a little trick for 3 and 9. It's not the most important thing in the world for sure. Okay, so here we go. Find a whole number solution that makes each of the following true. Divisible by 2 and 3, but not by 5. Can you think of a number, here's part A, that's divisible by 2 and 3, meaning 2 and 3 go into it, but 5 does not? So we just go down the list. Is 15 it? No. 2 doesn't go into 15, huh? Not evenly, I mean. How about, that's not that one. How about 56? Does 2 go into 56? You can try, and of course you can do it with your calculator. But if you divide 56 by 2, would 2 go in evenly? How do you know right away real quick? Ends even, huh? If it ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, ends even. 2 goes in, but what about 3? Remember the little trick I just gave you? 56, if you add up 5 and 6, you get 11. Does 3 go into 11? Then 3 doesn't go into 56. So 3 doesn't go in, so we're trying to find a number that 2 and 3 go into, but not 5. So how about 24? Do 2 and 3 go in? Yeah. 3 times 8, 2 times 12, and not 5. There's your answer. Good enough. We'll try B. So part B says, find a number that's divisible by 2 and 4, but not 8. 2 and 4, but not 8. How about 40? Do 2 and 4 go in? Yeah. Does 8 go in? Yeah, 8 goes in there too. 5 times 8 is 40, huh? So it's supposed to not be 8. So not 40. How about 42? Do 2 and 4 go in? I don't think 4 goes in. If you divide, 4 doesn't go in there, right? Because 4 goes into 40. so it won't go into 42. You have a 2 remainder. So you can try it in your calculator. 4 does not. If you go 42 divided by 4, you'll get 10.5, I think. So it doesn't go in evenly. It just goes in with a decimal. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about going in evenly a whole number of times. So that did not work, right? It's supposed to be divisible by 2 and 4. 4 didn't divide evenly. How about 84? That might be it. I think that works for 4 if you divide by 4. Certainly it works for 2 because it is even. Divide by 4, that's 21, so that's good. And 8, does 8 go in? I don't think it does. No, it doesn't because 10 would be 80, huh? So it's 10.5. 10 doesn't go in. There's your answer. 84 is the number that's divisible by 2 and 4, but not by 8. 2 and 4 go into it, but 8 does not. Making sense? We're going to get more formal about this and give rules and all that later. We're just kind of getting our feet wet at this point, just playing around with divisibility. Let's try C. He says divisible by 5 and 10, but not 2. 5 and 10, but not 2. Well, how about 35? Do 5 and 10 go into that one? Not 10. It's not, to be divisible by 10, what do you got to have at the end? 0. So not that one, not the 42. Now 50 is divisible by 5 and 10, and not by 2. Is it not divisible by 2? No, it is divisible by 2. Right? 2 goes into it. So it's not 50. Right? It's got to be 5 and 10 have to go in, but not 2. How about 30? 5 goes in, 10 goes in, but so does 2. What's the deal? Is there no whole number? Or is there just no number in this list? Which one is it? None of these seem to work, but is there some other number you can think of that would work? Can you think of any number that would? So we go. So what do you think? Does no number go in, or I'm sorry, I'm not saying that well. Is there no number that fits this situation, or is it just none of these numbers? Can you think of any number that 5 and 10 go into, fit into, divide evenly into, but 2 does not? Is that possible? Could there be a number? How do you know that's not possible?
Because 2 is a divisor of 10.
Yeah, because 2's in the 10, right? If 10 goes into a number, like pick any number like 60 or whatever. If 10 is going in there, what's in a 10 is 2 times 5, huh? So if 10 goes in, then 2 and 5 have to go in, right? So there's no way you're going to have 10 go in, but not 2. If 10's going in, he's taking 2 with him because he's made out of 2 and 5. And that's the idea we're going to start to realize, is that numbers are made out of other numbers. 10 is actually made out of 2 times 5, which I'm sure you know. And what are 2 and 5 called, those numbers that make other numbers? They are divisors. There's another name for it. Factors is the same as divisors. There's a more fundamental name. There's a more primal name. Primes. They're called primes. They are the building blocks of all the other numbers. They can't be broken down. Nothing goes into 2. I mean, other than 2 itself. And 1, of course, goes into everything. But nothing other than 2 and 1 go into 2. Nothing other than 2 and 5, 1 and 5 go into 5. Those are primes. So we'll start to see it's all about primes, really. So if 22 goes into a number, so they're saying 22 divides into n. So 22 goes into n. So it fits in there. Think about like a container. That's a good way to think about it. So 22 goes in there. Might be something like 66. 22 goes into 66, right? I'm 88, or I don't know what it is, but some bigger number that 22 goes evenly into. That's what it means to divide evenly into. What other numbers, if that's the case, if 22 fits in, what other numbers must also fit in, go in, divide in? How would we figure that out? If we know that 22 goes into something, then what else has to go into that something also? Anything in the 22, huh? 2, 11, 1, because 1 goes into anything, right? So what other numbers go in? 1, 2, and 11. Does that make sense? 1 goes into everything, so he's going to be in every list. And 2 and 11 have to also, right? If 22 goes into something, then he's taken 2 and 11 with him, and 1 goes into everything. So 1, 2, and 11 have to go in as well. Right? Think about 88, for example. 22 goes into 88, so does 1, so does 2, so does 11. Huh? That's going to work. Why? Why do these other ones work? Because 22 is even? No, that's not the reason. Because 2 plus 2 is 4. What is that? That's dumb. Because they also divide 22. Because they are in the 22. Right? These numbers go into 22. So if 22 goes into something else and they go into 22, they have to go into the bigger thing. Does that make sense? 1, 2, and 11 go into 22 evenly. And 22 goes into whatever that in thing is. So these guys have to go into in, don't they? It's like a small container fits into a medium, and the medium fits into the large. So the small's got to fit in the large. It's the kind of the idea. Good? Okay. Well, I probably should have just made those bigger. Yeah. So that straight line, yeah, I probably should tell you. That straight line means divides evenly into. They're going to be using that a lot. So 5 divides even. It's almost like if it helps you, just think about it like a long division. That's what it is. You're basically long dividing in. So does 5 go into whatever 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 is? Without even figuring out what that number is, can we answer the question, does it? Does 5 go into that number? It's got to, because it's got a 5. You see, if 5's in there, then 5's in there. I mean, that's kind of a dumb statement, but you know what I mean, right? If 5 is one of the pieces of the number, then 5 has to divide evenly into that. So that one's a yes or a true. How about the next one? Does 5 go into that whole number? Now that one's a little more tricky. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's think about just this part. Well, we just answered that part, didn't we? Actually, that was question A, wasn't it? Does 5, forget about the 1 for a minute. Does 5 go into the part without the 1? Yeah, it does. What is that number, by the way? That's 10, 21. Oh, by the way, the easy way to figure that out without a calculator, 2 times 5 is 10. I'm just doing what's easy. 3 times 7 is 21. And 21 times 10, just throw a 0 on the back when you multiply by 10. So that's the number 210, isn't it? So does 5, so question A was really asking, does 5 go evenly into 210? Well, yes, it does, was our answer. I don't know how many times. What would it be? 42? I think it's 42 times. No, that's not right. 20, I don't know what it is. Whatever. Now it's bugging me. I want to figure it out. Is it? Maybe it's 42. Oh, it is 42. It's 42. Anyway, whatever. So it goes in there 42 times evenly. Meaning, if I did it, there'd be no remainder, right? If I did this, it'd be perfect. No remainder. Goes in evenly. So then what if I added 1 to that number and did 211? What do you think would happen? It would still go in 42 times. Remainder 1. Right? If it goes perfectly evenly into 210, then if you tried to add 1 to that, see what they're doing? They're adding 1 out here. If you try to add 1 to that, that's not going to go in evenly. That's going to be the remainder of 1. Everybody's seeing that? They're testing if you get that idea. If you go into one number, I mean this entire number here, that's what part A said, then if you add 1 to that, you're not going to go in. If you go into 210, you add 1, you're not going to go into 211. You're going to have a remainder of 1. So you don't go in evenly. So this would be false. Because they're saying that it does divide, and that's false. All right? How about part C here? Does 6 divide evenly, here's the divide thing, into that number? Well, you want to basically look and see if you see the 6 there. So let me write it out here. They're saying, does 6 go into 2 to the third? Now, what's 2 to the third? 2 times 2 times 2. And what's 3 squared? 3 times 3. And I don't care about the 17, but I'll write it. 17 4 times. But he doesn't really matter. Do you see what this is right here? My iPad's running low. I might have to plug it in a minute. Anyway, that's my 6. That's my 6, right? So yeah, it goes in. Yeah, it goes in. Now, if I added 1, it would be no, remainder 1. Are you tracking with me? So if you have a bunch of numbers multiplied, nothing added, and in that combination you can make the whatever you're trying to go in, then you go in. Is that good? It divides evenly into it. Maybe I'm looking at your faces. Maybe something else would help. Think about if I went 2 into something like 10. Let's go. Yeah, 2 goes into 10. It would go in, wouldn't it? 5 times, evenly. Right? Why is that? I mean, why is it? Now we want to get kind of fundamental. Think about the structure of numbers. Why is that happening? Because 10 is just 2 times 5, isn't it? That's the guts of a 10, so to speak. That's what's in a 10. So of course 2 goes in because it's one of the pieces. So that's how divisibility works. One number goes into another number if it's really in there, already in there. So when they ask me, what if I asked you all, hey, does 6 go into 2 times 7 times 11 times 17? Do you think 6 divides evenly into that number? No, is the answer immediately. Why not? Well, because what if I threw a 3 on the back? Now it'd be yes. Because now you have a 2 and a 3, which is what a 6 is. Right? What is 6 made out of? 2 and 3. So you want to start thinking about primes. It's all about primes. So when somebody asks me, does 6 go into some bunch of numbers multiplied? Well, if the pieces of a 6 are found there, then yes. If not, no. It's that simple. One number divides into another number if all its pieces are there. If they're not, it's no. And then if you added 1, then it would be no, remainder 1, right? All right. So now, on D, they're being tricky. See how they have a slash here through the symbol? Whenever you slash a symbol in math, you're saying not that. So what they're saying is they're saying 7 does not divide into 4,222. I have no idea. Just take your calculator. What's 4,222 divided by 7? Is it clean? So what is 4,222 divided by 7? No, I don't think so. Some kind of decimal thing, right? So no, it doesn't divide in, which is exactly what they're saying. They're saying 7 does not divide in. So that's actually a true statement. Was that confusing? That'd be like me saying, you're not in Math 4B right now. Or I mean, not in Math 10B right now. That's true. You're not. That's what they're saying. They're saying 7 does not go into that. True. It does not go evenly in. There's a decimal. All right. Okay. So see if you can follow these true-false questions. Classify each of the following as true or false, complete. If a number is divisible by 14, so if a number is divisible by 14, the number is divisible by 14, then it's divisible by 2 and 7. So maybe I have to shift over. So if a number is divisible by 2 and 7, is it divisible by 14? No, other way around. By 14, is it divisible by 2 and 7? So do you see what they're saying? 14 goes into some number. So do 2 and 7 go into that number? That's a dead plug. There's nothing coming out of that. It's a false plug. Sorry, I'm having technical issues. So if a number is divisible by 14, so 14 goes into... So I think what helps a lot on these is just pick an example. Pick an example number. So like, what's a number that is divisible by 14? Like 28. He can be divided by 14. Does that make sense, what they're saying? Or, I'm sure there's other examples. So numbers will help you think about it. So if a number is divisible by 14, like 28 is divisible by 14, can be divided by 14 with a nice whole number answer that doesn't have a decimal, then is that same number 28 divisible by 2 and also by 7? Yes. Because 2 and 7 are in 14, aren't they? So if 14 is going into the number, then certainly 2 and 7 can. So this is true. Let's try the next one. If a number is divisible by 2 and 7, is it divisible by 14? They switched it around, you see. So take a number that can be divided by 2 and 7. What's a number that can be divided by 2 and 7? Well, of course, 14 comes to mind, or 28 again. 28 can be divided by 2 and by 7. Can it be divided by 14? Yeah, it can. So if 2 and 7 go into a number, then does 14? Yeah. Because 2 and 7 are 14, aren't they? How are we doing? Is this making sense? So in number theory, which is what we're into now, you want to think about numbers and what they're made out of. So 14 is made out of 2 times 7. So if something can be divided by 2 and 7, then it can be divided by 14, because that is 14. True. Next one. If a number is divisible by 2 and 4, is it divisible by 8? If 2 and 4 go into a number, does that automatically mean 8 goes in? No? What do you think? How about if I take 8? It can be divided by 2 and 4. So can it be divided by 8? Well, yeah. But does that mean all numbers can? You see, here's the trick. It's easy to find something not true. It's harder to prove something true, because it's got to be true for all cases, doesn't it? Do you see the difficulty here? This is where things get a little theoretical. Are you tracking with me? If I say dogs are black, that's an encompassing statement. To prove me wrong, you just got to find one dog that's not black, and I'm wrong. But to prove it right, that'd be a lot of work. It's not right. But, you'd have to find every dog and show that they're all black, right? So you see the difference. To prove something, a statement false, you just got to find one example that doesn't fit it. That's called a counter example in the world of logic and all that. Counter example. It counters it, shows it's false. So if I'm thinking, okay, and if I say, hey, I'm going to prove to you that all dogs are black, and then I show you a picture of one dog and it's black, does that prove that all dogs are black? No, that's just one black dog. That doesn't mean all dogs are black. If I just say dogs are black, well, and I prove it by, see, there's a black dog. That's not a proof. That's just one dog that's black. So that's what's happening here. If they're saying, if a number is divisible by 2 and 4, I said, well, pick 8. It's divisible by 2 and 4, and it's divisible by 8. It's a black dog. But that doesn't mean all numbers do that. Can you give me a counter example? Probably you're thinking of one, right? You got one? Anybody got one? 12? Good one. Yeah, 12 is divisible by 2 and 4, but it's not divisible by 8, not evenly. So no, that's a false statement. Even though, of course, there's some numbers that fit that. Some dogs are black. But that's not true in general. Just because a number is divisible by 2 and 4 doesn't mean it's divisible by 8. Now, what happened there? What about my rule about, 2 and 4 makes 8? Why didn't my rule work about 2 and 4 makes 8? So if you're divisible by 2 and 4, you should be divisible by 8.
4 is not a prime.
Yeah, 4 is not a prime. So when you say 2 and 4 go into a number, you're kind of repeating. If 4 goes in, you've already got the 2. 2's not a separate extra thing. 2's already in 4, you see. So when I say the rules about if they're in there, that's for primes. That's for primes only. So 2 and 7, it worked fine. 2 and 7 are both prime. They can't be broken down. If 2 and 7 are in a number, that's a 14. But 2 and 4 is not prime. So you can't reason that way. Does that make sense? All right, let's keep going. So if a number is divisible by 8, then it's divisible. They turned it around again. It's divisible by 2. Is it correct this direction? Let me get to a fresh screen here. It's getting messy. So think about it for a second. So if a number is divisible by 8, is it divisible by 2 and 4? What do you think? Any thoughts? I would just start off with examples. If this is on a test or homework, whatever, just start to say, okay, if a number is divisible, let's think of a number that's divisible by 8. How about 16? That can be divided by 8, evenly, okay. I'm down on E. We're not on E, we're on D. It's divisible by 8. Is it also divisible by 2 and by 4? Well, yeah, certainly. Is that always going to work? Let's try another one. What's another number divisible? How about 8 itself? 8 itself is divisible by 8. Is it also divisible by 2 and 4? Yeah. What's another number divisible? Well, do you see it's always going to work? See, if 8 goes in there, then 8 has within it actually 3 2's, doesn't it? Which is 4 and 2. So it's going to work. So that one's true. So this one was false. These two were true, right? Finally, E. If a number is divisible by 8, a number is divisible by 8, if and only if it is divisible by 2 and 4. What that means, that's something they do in higher math. They make these if and only if statements. What it means is the truth goes both directions. It goes that way and it goes that way. We've already proven that it didn't go one of the ways. So this is false. Did I make any sense there? A number, because see, the if and only if, it's saying both D's statement and C's statement are true, is what it's saying. And no, false, one of those statements was not true. C was a false statement. That's what if and only if means. Why does if and only if mean that? Well, think about the English language there, what it's saying. A number is divisible by 8 if, forget about the only if. Let's just do the if part first. If it's divisible by 2 and 4. See what they're saying there? They're basically saying, just turn it around. If it's divisible by 2 and 4, it's divisible by 8. It's divisible by 8. This if is saying C. Does that make sense? And that we already proved C was not true. All right, I'll move on. We're not going to do a lot of if and only if. That's kind of a more advanced statement. Okay, let's move on. You okay there? Questions? Okay, if a number is not divisible by 3, can it be divisible by 6? Rather than me just whipping one after the other out, let me give you just a second. Try it on your own paper. Come to your own. So, if a number is not divisible, so make an example. The best thing, one of the things I really learned about doing these in higher math is to just make up number examples. It'll really help you to just do numbers. So first off, pick a number that's not divisible by 3. Just pick one. Somebody got one? What's a number not divisible by 3? 7. 7's a good one, right? 7, you try to divide it by 3, it's not. It's not evenly, right? It goes in 2 with some remainder. You guys with me so far? So really try to make up numbers. They'll help you a lot. Rather than just read the statement and kind of just hope something comes to you. Try a number. If you're stuck, sometimes you can just tell right away the answer. But if you're at all stuck or all having a little trouble, just make up a number that fits it. So 7 is a number not divisible by 3. Can it be divisible by 6? Is that divisible by 6? No, not this time. That dog is black. But is that always going to work? What do you think? You can try another one. What's another number not divisible by 3? How about 10? 10's doesn't go in evenly, huh? So is it divisible by 6? No. How about if we pick a number that is divisible by 3? What would be a number that is? Like 12, 18. Those are all divisible by 3, right? Are they also divisible? So wait. We're supposed to, if it's not, well, I'm just confusing myself. That didn't help. Anyway, so do you see if it's not divisible by 3, can it be divided by 6? Do you feel a little more comfortable with the answer now? What's the answer? No, it can't be. Because if 3 doesn't go in, how could 6? Because what's in a 6? 3's in there. He's made out of 2 times 3, isn't he? Remember, always think about primes. So if 3 can't go into something evenly, how could 6? He's made out of a 3. So can it be divisible by 6? No, it cannot. Oh, which way? There's 2 no's. Because Because if 6 goes into a number, then what is that saying? let me look at that. No, because 3 and 6 share a common factor. And if one number is in a pair of numbers with a common factor does not divide into a number, then the other number in that pair does not. That's very good. I don't even know what that's saying. I'm going to have to read it closely. I'm not going to ask you to give a bunch of words. These will be on the test, but not like this. It'll just be true or false. In fact, I've made the test. I can just tell you, no secrets with me. There is one question in 4 parts that's true, false. So, no words. There's none of these, what's the reason? It's just yes or no, true or false. So I'll do it though with you, just because it's on here. Let me read it carefully. Because 3 and 6 share a common factor. Yes, they do. 3 itself. And if one number in a pair of numbers with a common factor, if one number in a pair of numbers with a common factor does not divide a number, then the other number in the pair. No, that's not true. No. That's saying something weird. I don't want to waste your time. This one, what is this one? So if 6 divides into x, then x is 6 times a number. Yeah, that's true. I know that's confusing. Let me just tell you the answer is A. I don't want to get into all that. Well, I'll mention it. It's a little obscure. What they're saying is if a number goes into 6, like if 6 divides a number, if 6 goes into a number, if I say 6 goes into whatever, blah, 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 then that means that blah, blah, blah has a 6 in it, right? So they're saying that blah, blah, blah is 6 times n. That's a way of saying it's 6 times something. That's what this means here. If 6 goes into the number, then that number is 6 times n. And then you can break that down. That's 2 times 3 times n. That's what they're saying there. So, of course, 3 has got to go in. All right. It's okay if you don't get all that. I'm not going to test it quite that hard. It's just going to be yes or no. That's the answer on that one. It's no for A. Okay, try that one. So this is 9b. If it's not divisible by 6, can it be divisible by 3? Try it out. Just try grabbing a number to see if that's true or not. So what is a number not divisible by 6? How about 10? 10's not divisible by 6. Could it be divisible by 3? So if 6 doesn't go into it, could 3? No way. It's probably this thing again. I don't know. Let me see. Because if 6 goes into a number, then that's that. Right. Same answer, yeah. Same thing. Same reason. If 6 doesn't go into a number, then how could 3? Let's go back. So you're talking about 9. It's not divisible by 6. Oh, yeah. You're right. I'm being crazy. Thank you. Yeah. So if a number is not divisible by... Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking totally wrong. Yep, you're totally right. Yep, thank you. Yeah, so they're saying if 6 doesn't go into a number, then could 3? Yeah, because 3 is smaller. That was goofy of me. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. Thank you. So, even though, I did the black dog thing and said, see, all dogs are black, and moved on. I just happened to pick one number that didn't work. But yeah, your example is a good one. 6 doesn't go into 9, but 3 does. Right. Good. So the answer is yes. And it's because, it's this one. Because multiplying 3 by an odd number results in a number not divisible. Yeah. Anyway, it's that one. So it's B. That's right. Thank you. All right. Yeah, if I do something crazy or if you have questions. All right. How could concrete materials be used? I'm going to leave you to read those. It's talking about base 10 blocks. You'll have the answers.